Before starting, I carefully examined the existing concept of the image. A free-spirited girl in a hat, glasses, and flowing hair. I started with a simple B2 pencil. First, I lightly outlined the general oval of the head and the direction of its tilt. I drew a central vertical line to maintain symmetry and horizontal guidelines for the eyes and mouth. Next, I outlined the shape of the hat it sets the character, so it was important to capture its tilt. After that, I outlined the larger shapes, the glasses, the shoulder line, and the shirt collar. I drew the hair with loose strokes, not detailing, but simply indicating the direction of movement, as if it were blown by the wind. Using an eraser, I adjusted the proportions of the face, softening unnecessary lines and removing the harshness of the outline. Gradually, I strengthened the main lines, the eyes, lips, glasses, and collar. I didn't overload the sketch with details, leaving room for artistic freedom and coloring. Once the sketch was ready, I began painting with acrylics. I worked with 3 brushes, a large one, slightly larger than medium, for the background and large areas, a medium one for the clothes and hair, and a fine one for contours and details. I started with the background. It's important to establish the atmosphere right away. I chose a bright, rich, and pure green. Using a large brush, I evenly filled the space around the figure, leaving the silhouette untouched. I added subtle tonal transitions here and there to keep the background from looking flat. The green creates a contrast with the red accents in the hair and enhances the portrait's expressiveness. Then I moved on to the shirt. Using a medium brush, I applied a deep blue. I wasn't aiming for photorealism. On the contrary, I left a slight unevenness in the brushstrokes to maintain the liveliness. I added dark fold lines and reinforced the contours with a fine brush. The blue balances the brightness of the hair and lips. The hair is the most dynamic part. First, I laid down the main yellow color with a medium brush. Then, using a fine brush, I added red lines. They create the effect of movement and an emotional accent. I used a black outline to emphasize the direction of the strands. I deliberately made the lines sharp, almost graphic, to enhance the expression. I painted the skin carefully, more softly, using a warm flesh tone. I kept the transitions smooth, without harsh shadows. The face should remain the calm center of the composition. I made the lips a bright, full red to draw attention. I painted the glasses a deep black, leaving a slight sheen so they wouldn't look flat. Using a thin brush, I enhanced the contours, drawing the buttons, the lines of the hat, and individual strands. The outline plays a major role in this work. It unites everything into a coherent graphic image. Critical assessment. What worked well? Very strong color contrast, green, blue, red. A good sense of movement in the hair. The style is cohesive, graphic, and decorative. The silhouette is clear. The image is easy to read. What could be improved? Add some shadows on the face for volume. Refine the lighting on the clothing to make it less flat. Perhaps add a subtle reflection of the background color to the hair or face to enhance the depth. What you can add? Textured brushstrokes in the background. Subtle highlights on the lips and glasses. More color variations in the hair. Style and audience? The work is close to pop art, expressionism, and a touch of modern illustration. It may appeal to people who appreciate brightness, freedom, stylish graphics, musical aesthetics, and an atmosphere of independence. The painting conveys character confidence and inner freedom.